Okay. Um, can you tell me a little bit about some of the people that were really active from Imperial Courts projects? That you had spoken
Well, you
on
want to
in
go.
the last interview.
You sound like you want to go back a little bit. I mean, I was
Yeah.
in this era. That takes me back to before really I got on police department as a
Police.
reserve. That was time I think was telling you about my
Yeah.
Tookie Williams incident when he had struck my father and stuff. But that
Yep.
was back then. I spoke of Anthony Blaylock, who was AB, and in my opinion, he was the one who really got the PJ Crips started back in that time. That had to be 75 or 76 when all that was going down. And Anthony Blaylock was another young man who was quite involved, but knew him since he was small. He played baseball for me and everything. But he got caught up. I think he got killed robbing Church's chicken over there on the Imperial. I guess the police shot and killed AB back in 75 or something like that, 76. He was the PJ Crip guy. Um, at that time, Imperial Courts were known for gang activity in a sense, because back in even my day, when I was raised in the Imperial Court, we didn't have these street gangs like they had now. And these guys, I used to call them cowards when I did my presentation about the drive-by shootings and stuff. See, this was right after the Vietnam War and stuff, and a lot of guys went to Vietnam and they learned this hit and run type of retaliation or attacks and stuff like that. So a lot of them got drafted, went to Vietnam and stuff, and came back with that training. And before you knew it, these Crips and brothers that was really getting started doing these drive-by shootings. And I used to call them cowards because I said, you guys aren't facing your enemy. Back in our day, you had them Imperial Courts were the Orientals, Nicholson Gardens were the Huns, Jordan Downs were the Savalians. We used to call them social clubs, but they were literally young, misguided youth that would get into riots and stuff, but they never used any guns or stuff. We always fought. Brass knuckles maybe, and the worst thing was probably a bumper jack or something, but you act literally facing the person that you having a problem with. You fighting them. But then when all this drive-by shooting and they started involving people's family, their mamas and sisters getting shot, I used to tell them that was very cowardice. And I didn't particularly care for that type of confrontations. So, but these guys were involved in a lot of that. And you had a lot of PJ Crips got caught up in that. I remember, what's my man name? I was trying to think of two little brothers, A. Clark and Junebug Clark. They got caught up in this dope stuff and this Crip and stuff. But they were sort of like PJ Crips that come to mind. But like I said, that was back middle 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how the bounty hunters and the PJs hooked up, and if you know about any stories from them?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, it was just kicking up all this rivalry and PJs formalizing their little PJ Crips. But naturally, their main rivalries were the other projects. They had a main rival was the Bounty Hunters, which were Nicholson Gardens housing project. The other rival group were in Jordan Down, Grape Street. But the main rival were the Pyrus, Bounty Hunters. And so they started getting into shootings in that. But I really didn't investigate any of that for the most part because they were LAPD's jurisdiction. However, a lot of those cats would venture into Compton, either PJ Crips or either Bounty Hunters, and we might have had a few incidents between them in our city, but most of the rivalry was between the two projects. But I more or less was consulted by 77th Street gangs, the crash unit and stuff, I knew a lot of those guys because Edward McGowan of Manpower was a shot caller over there in Nicholson. And as I said, before he got killed, Anthony Blaylock and them was. So I would help them kind of get information and try to talk them down or tell them who's who or what. But it was a tremendous rivalry, back and forth shootings that LAPD Southeast Division had to deal with between the Bloods. Now every now and then the Crips on Crips thing started, where PJs were getting into it with the Grape Streets cats that back in Jordan Down Project area. The big name over there naturally is Honcho, Wayne Day and stuff, but Wayne never was a banger. Like, he had a lot of influence over the Jordan Down, but he kind of, had a lot tied into the drug trafficking thing. But you had shootings between them two. But those, like I say, weren't directly Compton PD incidents. But by my knowledge of all of them, I had to work along, or task force or what, with LAPD to help solve some of those back and forth rivalry. And the Jordan Downs especially would come to Compton with incidents because Wayne's brother got killed where they were trying to jack him over there on Alondra and Long Beach Boulevard. Wayne's brother had those Dayton rims, and some Southsiders tried to jack, well, not try, they did jack and kill Hunter's brother, trying to get his Dayton. And then subsequently got information that who was involved was a kid that was actually Samoan who wanted to jump in or be part of Southside who jacked Wayne's brother. And we found out really through the help of Wayne's family who the suspect was. And I caught him one day trying to go in the house. The suspect, he was a youngster, big old youngster. I think he was a juvenile at the time he did the shooting, and saw him going into his house and arrested him. He ended up confessing to the whole incident back there. That was a Grape Street thing, because Grape Street knew he was from Southside, and that started a bunch of shootings back and forth between Southside and Grape Street Crips back during that time. So that kind of stuck out with me for a while.